What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's spoiler-filled review, as well as ending explains of False Positive. This movie, of course, is premiering on Hulu, and of course is directed by John Lee and co-written by Ilana Glazer, who's the actress in this movie. As always, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below on any video that you watch, including this one. So False Positive is, of course, now out on Hulu. You've probably seen it by now. You have a lot of questions. Maybe I can give you some answers. And we'll do the best we can with what my official feeling of what this movie is trying to say. And the question is, what exactly is it trying to say? What is Ilana Glazer and John Lee trying to represent? And what is my overall feeling of what this movie is trying to be? And it is definitely a homage to Rosemary's Baby, with the simple fact of doctors, and the world around her seems a little bit off when she gets pregnant. It almost feels like she's being kind of controlled in a lot of ways. She has nightmares that are very much in line with that type of scenario. She is basically, her and her husband, who's played by Justin Theroux, are trying to have a baby. They can't have a baby, so they go to Dr. Hindle, Pierce Brosnan's character, and he offers them the ability through infertilization, or IFE, or whatever it's called, to have a kid. And he's very successful. And basically through like the rubbing of the stomach to check the heartbeats and stuff like that, they find out she's going to have twins, but there is a third baby, which of course is a girl. Now, with the idea of control, which is what this, to me personally, what this movie is about, Dr. Hindle gives her the option of either keeping the twins, or keeping one of the twins and the daughter, or getting rid of the daughter through a reduction thing, which apparently is a true thing, where he basically makes her feel like the daughter is going to cause problems in her birth, which may cause complications. So she has to make the hard decision on who to kind of, in a way, abort in a lot of aspects. So when the two babies are born, they'll basically, she'll kind of, fluid out the other kid. And she makes the tough decision to have the girl disposed and stuff like that, which is not, I'm not making a joke, but it's the sad nature of what actually happens. But when it comes to control, and what I mean by that is this movie has a very clear message, at least in my eyes and what I think. It's a movie about a woman in a world that is completely dominated by males and men. It's a movie about a woman who has to make a decision based off what a male says to her. And it's very much a progressive movie about a woman basically suspecting everyone around her by going them through the same message. When she's at her job, she has a male manager, a male lead in her department. She works for like a magazine or something like that. And she's constantly being kind of demeaned by him. She's always having to get the lunches and stuff like that. She feels like she is ready to kind of make the next step, but she kind of keeps getting put down. She finally gets the chance to do that, but as the movie moves along, we see that her boss is kind of, in essence, grooming her, but he ends up like taking like what she deserves back, giving it to another male person. And we see her start to kind of slowly lose her grasp on what's going on, because people are constantly putting her down. The males and men in this movie are constantly putting her down. Her husband is not very supportive of her in a lot of aspects. He just wants to have a kid. The whole idea that they're having male kids, male boys as the twins, is another aspect. Dr. Hindle and his push to have the two twins. We see it, how Dr. Hindle constantly like demeans her and constantly puts her down, stuff like that. You look at like the characters like the Gretchen Mol character, and you watch how her character acts and how she is kind of infatuated by Dr. Hindle, and she like will do anything for him. She seems to be never questioning what Dr. Hindle's doing. And like I said, as the movie moves along, her best friend kind of like almost like disowns her. She finds a report in the safe that Adrian has that he's been hiding from Lucy's character. She gives it to her friend, who she thinks is her friend, and her friend ends up automatically giving it to her husband. She's almost hallucinating, and she's starting to question things, and she's having depression issues, and she's having anxiety issues, and they're trying to give her pills to calm her down. And they never really kind of listen to her, and they never question whether she's telling the truth or not. So a lot of it is just her being put in a box, and in the process we are led to believe, or these people try to lead her to believe, that she is becoming that. And so, like I said, it's very much about society and ideas and concepts about having to be a certain way, having to believe a certain thing, the fact that they're very influent, they have to adhere to a certain standard. You watch them when they're talking, you watch her when she's talking to those parents and how the mothers and how excited they are that she got to go to Dr. Hindle. There's the idea of going to all these parties and stuff like that, and she, when she goes to the hospital, and just everything around her is just pushing her into believing this certain thing. And like I said, the whole idea of being affluent, having the ability to have good insurance and stuff like that, it really starts to roll up into just one kind of powder keg of an expressionism type of situation. And so we get to this ending, which is a very surreal, very strange experience where basically Lucy eventually gives birth to the twin boys, and the daughter comes out in the unfortunate nature because they killed her and stuff like that with the whole reduction thing. And she's not connecting with the two twin boys. She really wanted the daughter. She ends up back at the clinic because she's starting to suspect everything about her husband. There's something really off about it. And she basically finds out that her husband basically made a trade-off. He's going to work for Dr. Hindle. Dr. Hindle, in the essence, was giving them, children and stuff like that. But we also find out a very sinister approach to the whole situation where Dr. Hindle basically impregnated her with his own semen, his own sperm. Now, if we think about the effects, not only on the kind of psyche of what goes on with Lucy, who's already having issues in this movie, and the concept of what I was saying earlier with about the male domination and males keeping women in like their check and stuff like that, it's a really disturbing concept where he used his own genetics, his own DNA, to impregnate her with his own sperm. And when we think about that, that is in essence, not only was he lying to her, not only was he not being truthful, but as she says in the movie, it's in essence, he in essence rapes her because he used his own DNA and he lied about it, and she gave birth to his new generation of babies. He's basically spreading his seed into as many women as he can, and it's a really disturbing thought if you think about it. And she gets her revenge on him, of course. I think she kills the Gretchen Mol character. She really beats up the Pierce Brosnan, Dr. Hindle character, and she destroys all the semen collection. It's really weird to say. She basically destroys his DNA, the sperm donations and stuff like that. And she walks back to her house. She has the dead fetus and the paperwork. She approaches the babies, and this is where I thought the movie got really bold. She takes the two babies, and basically it's insinuated that she throws them out the window. Now, that's a really disturbing concept, but if you think about it, she's trying to let go of these two babies. But then Adrian, the Justin Theroux character, walks in, and of course, the babies are still alive, which I was like, thank God. But that was a really bold concept to kind of lead out on a very dark and disturbing note and how she was going to act. And then she just gives the babies to Adrian and says, get out, basically get out of my effing life. And he's like, what am I going to do? He's like, I don't care. And then she takes the fetus, the dead fetus, and she starts giving it, she puts it up to her breast, and she acts like she's feeding it, because she always wanted a daughter. And then there's this like really weird kind of, almost like her mind is kind of just gone off the deep end. She imagines that the dead fetus is, feeding off her and stuff like that, off her milk. And then the movie kind of ends, and it ends almost like triumphantly in a lot of ways, where she got what she wanted. She got revenge on the people that were constantly putting her down. And like I said, it's a movie about a woman who is constantly being put in a box, who's constantly being told what she can or cannot do. And it's also a revenge story when she finds out what exactly Dr. Hindle was doing and what he was not telling her. And it's a very dark movie. Like I said, it's not a movie I truly love because I think some of the concepts of the whole putting her in a box are not fully realized, but I understand what they were going for. I understand what exactly Ilana Glazer wanted to say, especially with her co-writer John Lee. But it's also, like I said, about postpartum depression. It's also a movie about, the trials and tribulations of what mothers have to go through as they start becoming pregnant, and they have to go through the 9 months and the 3 or 4 trimesters, 6 trimesters, whatever trimesters it is that they end up having before they end up giving birth. And overall, it's an interesting kind of movie. It's very violent and graphic in a lot of aspects. effects. And there's some stuff in here that get really dark and disturbing. But like I said, it's a movie that at least tries to be different. It at least tries to be an interesting horror slash, thought-provoking movie. But like I said, it wasn't just my cup of tea. But Ilana Glazer's really good in it. She's a great writer, as we know from Broad City. So, but with that said, that is going to be my take on this movie in a spoiler-filled ending explained sense. I hope I was at least somewhat comprehensive in this, what I thought about this movie. But overall, if you want, let me know in the comments below what you thought of the movie. What is your take on what's going on? There might be more that I'm missing here when it comes to what this movie is actually trying to do, so please let me know in the comments. But like I said, this is just my personal opinion. But if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button, and as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.